This is literally what it says. Here's what you're going to prioritize. Anybody who's committed a criminal offense. Anybody who's been charged with a criminal offense but it hasn't been resolved in a court of law. Anybody who's committed a chargeable offense. Somebody who has engaged in fraud to achieve a government benefit. Somebody who has abused a benefit program. Somebody who is subject to a lawful removal order and has failed to comply with it. Or somebody, as you said, who's a risk to public safety or national security. That's a pretty good standard that I think a lot of people would agree with.
Okay, now that's a mouthful, okay? But simply stated, the left is saying this is a deportation force, and the right is saying we are simply enforcing the laws on the books as they stand today. Where are you between both of those, Katie?
Well, first, I think that Chuck Schumer is making these claims that there's going to be a massive deportation force with very thin evidence to make those claims. And he's doing it to score cynical political points. I'm not sure if he's going off of the botched AP report from last week saying that hundreds of thousands of National Guard troops are going to be used to go into neighborhoods and deport illegal immigrants. That ended up being completely false. So I'm not sure where he's getting his information. In terms of what the right is talking about, is Karl Rove laid out there. That's not the right talking. That is what the law states. It's what the law has been for decades upon decades. And because of the fact that we have ignored immigration laws for so long, we've created our own problems. And so looking at that list of things, deporting people who have criminal records, making sure that people who falsify documents are held accountable, those who steal the identities of American citizens who are here illegally being held accountable, those who ignore immigration orders to leave the country being held accountable. This is about simply enforcing the law. And when you talk to Border Patrol agents and ICE agents who are on the ground doing this work in big cities, in the interior, and also on the border, securing, the border between Mexico and the United States, they will tell you, we don't need more laws. We simply need to be able to do our job to enforce what's already on the books.
So then how did we get off center here? When did that happen and why?
Well, as I mentioned, Democrats tend to use the illegal immigration issue as a way to stoke fear into their base and into their supporters.
But you can take an example like catch and release, right, under the Obama administration. Well, catch and release is a policy where if you got an illegal within, I think, 100 miles of the border, they were given a slip of paper, right, to show up at a court date
so essentially,
in front of a judge?
Right.
Now,
so
who's going to do that when you're running for a new life?
Well, exactly. And what catch and release was under the Obama administration is Border Patrol agents and ICE agents were told to tell these people who were caught at the border, hey, you're in the United States now, we're not going to detain you, but here is your court date and you need to show up. Well, guess what? 90% of those people who received that order didn't show up for their court date, and now they just get to go and live in the United States for however long, and therefore perpetuating this problem of illegal immigration. That is now going to end under the Trump administration, meaning people aren't going to be told that they can, be released into the interior of the United States and then maybe show up to their court date. It's a non-negotiable now. So the goal here is twofold. A, get all of the criminal aliens out, which is very important. There are a lot of people who are repeat offenders who have been here multiple times committing very serious crimes. Rape is one of them. Murder is another. Getting them out first, and then also securing the border and making sure that we're not creating another immigration problem down the road by continuing to allow people to come here illegally.
One more big point on this. Candidate Trump always said you're giving priority under the current existing enforcement of the law to illegal immigrants as opposed to American citizens. Now, I know you heard that loud and clear during the campaign. This would appear to be a follow-up on that. Quick last comment.
Well, and I think that's why President Trump was so successful in sending this message about immigration. For far too long, illegal aliens have been prioritized over the rights of American citizens. It's very clear with the announcement yesterday from the White House that they're creating this new office inside the Department of Homeland Security to allow victims of illegal immigrant crime to have resources from the federal government, when before that money was being used as a resource for illegal immigrants. So that has now been reallocated to American citizens who are victims of these crimes. So that's a first step. And so I think people have really resonated with that message.
Katie, thank you. We're interpreting it as we go. Katie Pavlik.